Good evening, everybody, and welcome to the Occult Rejects, another episode of Rustic Gods. I am your humble host, here coming to you live from the Greypilled garage, the Mississippi Mystic himself, Jules, host of the Greypilled podcast. What's going on, everybody? With me tonight, my two fellow rejects, Nick, the CEO and founder of the Occult Rejects, and the Headless Giant, my partner in crime in this endeavor, this series that we're doing, and the host of the Headless Giant podcast, Alchemy Mondays, Mailbag Thursdays, lots of stuff that he does. So y'all, what's up, guys?
Tuesdays.
Yeah. He has all the days covered. So what's up, boys?
This Tuesday, we're actually going back to one of our favorites. We're going to be talking DMT again.
This Tuesday no, that's Wednesday, I think. Wednesday night.
Oh, Wednesday. Okay.
Yeah, no, we still got Tuesday. I didn't offer Tuesday because I didn't want to fuck that up for the second week in a row.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, well, that's exciting. I got to check that out.
Yeah. Yo, you know what's up, Jules? Did you fix the video for Headless? It fit the screen this time.
Yeah, man.
I was going to offer
that, man. If you notice all my edits, all my ads that I do, all the thumbnails and like the backgrounds, they all fit. I'm very OCD about the production quality of things. So maybe that's a good thing for y'all, right? I'll definitely send that over to you, Headless, so you can use that on yours.
Go ahead, man.
But yeah, guys, it's been a couple weeks. Last episode, we discussed Priapus, Fashionus, the phallic god. Well, really just a symbol for, not fertilization. What the fuck am I talking about?
Fertility energy.
Fertility, right? Fertility. That people, it could be considered a talisman of sorts, to wear around your neck or something, a good luck charm. You may find, the love of your life be shot by Cupid, right? And right. So we discussed the Fashionus and Priapus, and it was very interesting. We looked at a lot of interesting images, and it was a blast. But tonight, I believe we are discussing the seed nymphs, right, Headless?
This is a very interesting point of contention in Greek mythology. So in the theogony, right, you've got the Titans, right, and you've got the Olympians, and half of the Titans, half of this first group that came out of Gaia and Uranus took up the sea. And so Oceanus and Tethys represent sort of the split in hierarchies that doesn't really ever get healed, right? So they are representative of all of these other spirits that live in the water or around rivers, lakes, streams, all of this stuff. And in fact, in the theogony, it's made a point that Hera, the wife of Zeus, believes that it wasn't Gaia and Uranus, or the earth and the sky, that were the first dichotomy. It was actually Oceanus and Tethys, which is actually a little bit more biblical if you think about it. So before there was anything, it was the spirit of the Lord was over the chaos of the deep, right? So in the biblical version, you can kind of see how these gods would be first, and Hera is saying that these gods are first. Now, these Oceanus and Tethys were kind of playing a neutral role throughout the Titanomachy, or the battle against the Titans, because they're in the water. They don't really care. And Oceanus is constantly referred to as the streams or the rivers around the world.
Right. And this is him right here, guys. Oceanus.
They call him reclining one because he's constantly laying, water finds his level.
Now, this is different than Poseidon, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay.
Poseidon is sort of like, well, you've got Poseidon, you've got Zeus, and you've got Hades. You've got the sea, the water, or you've got the water, you've got the air, right, on top of Mount Olympus, and you've got the underworld, right? So really what you've got in these three brothers is you've got dominion over all of these areas. Like these are the three spirits that govern all of the spirits in those areas, right? So Zeus, Hades, and Poseidon are sort of like the new rulers of the world after Titanomachy, after things have changed with all of these, cataclysmic events, all of these massive, pounding by heavenly bodies, all of this, comets striking the planet.
Dude, yeah, and you see kind of that triarchy of those three gods, and you see it elsewhere, Baal, Yam, and Mot, right? The air, water, and the underworld. And dude, I mean, yeah. So this isn't foreign to us. And that's pretty interesting that this is not Poseidon, but like an elder god, right?
Right.
Okay.
And Oceanus, in being the reclining one, is considered not to take sides, right? And so he kind of holds all of the secrets, and yet he doesn't take sides in any of these conflicts. He's sort of like the neutral arbiter. So he often comes to Zeus and is giving advice to Zeus, and Zeus is like, "Get away from me, old man. I don't want to hear what you have to say." So he's kind of like this. If you're not going to take a side, you're going to pick Oceanus. Oceanus is like, "I don't pick sides."
I see. Here's one of him and Tethys. Let me pull this up. This is great. I actually really like this one.
Is this with the pincer horns?
Yeah, you already know.
I love it.
Yeah, dude.
Oh yeah. Tethys has these wings and the serpent, and he's got the pincer horns, which I think are very unique and really, striking about this motif is he's got crab horns, and crabs are seen as like, have you ever heard of carcinization?
No.
So in carcinization, you've got all these different arthropods, including spiders and other things that have developed underwater to take on the shape of the crab, right? So it's like, it doesn't matter what type of invertebrate bug you've got living in the ocean. At some point, they're going to evolve into the crab. And so Oceanus, having the little pincers as a head, is kind of a reminder of that carcinization, right? Like all of my creatures will eventually become a crab, right?
Wow.
So,
yeah, and she has the wings of Hermes, or those wings that are on her head, as well as the serpent. So there's some hermetic symbolism there.
Right, but their horns are on the front of their heads, which is a little bit different from what you think of as normal horns. Is like normal horns are back here,
back and curved. Yeah.
Right. So it's a different perspective, but that is representational of all of the spirits that come out of their union. So that would be the Nereids and the Oceanides. Those would be the 3,000 spirits that give birth to all these other things. Now, doing magic on the open ocean and sort of connecting with these spirits also connects you with the wind and everything else. So this was very important for ancient travel, is to get in touch with the spirits of the water so that you're not left dealing with these sirens.
Yeah,
right?
Here's the Oceanids right here.
Right. And the sirens are a big part of this. They hate mankind. What are you doing in our oceans? You don't belong here. You're just mortals for the land. You don't have dominion over us. We can do whatever we want to once you get in the boat. It's sort of like, we have dominion here. You can't touch us. And in a lot of ways, you see that reflected in a lot of the stories, especially with the, Odyssey, where he's tied himself to the mast, right? And he takes the cotton out of his ears. Everybody else has the cotton in the ears, but he takes the cotton out to see if he can withstand the call of the sirens. And he doesn't. He fails. But
this is very interesting. This certain kind of imagery right here. It's like these spirits are filing into the ocean, and then they are reemerging as sirens. Right?
Right. And there's a connection between the sirens and the I'm losing their names. The guys with the claws, the harpies.
Harpies.
Right. So the harpies and sirens kind of get intermingled a little bit. So
Dude.
for instance, these two sirens that attack the feast that Hercules is attending, that he's got to smash into bits, they used to be sirens of the water. So now they're sirens of the air, and they're attacking this feast, right? So it's almost like these are the naval pilots that are coming out of the water to afflict mankind with their maleficence in the form of this kind of, being with these claws and the wings and everything.
Well,
but go ahead.
Oh, well, I was going to pull this image up. I find this interesting right here. There's a harpy over a seafaring, like over a ship. So did they have anything to do with the? So you're saying they did have something to do with the ocean,
right? So these are Nereids that eventually got the wings and the claws.
Oh, okay.
But they're coming out of the water as well. So there's this constant sort of push-pull when it comes to humans and these spirits of the ocean. You can see that a lot with Poseidon.
And there's that eye of Horus that they always put on their boat for good luck. They still do that to this day, guys. If y'all didn't know, the fishermen in Greece and Rome and all those other places around the Mediterranean put the eye of Horus on their boat for good luck.
Right.
Intention on symbols,
Right. And a lot of that has to do with what they saw of Apollo, because they call Apollo Horus the Elder. So in their pantheon, the syncretism with Horus was very present when talking about Apollo. So Apollo being the son of Zeus, right?
Yeah.
The avenging angel, right? As well.
Horus being the son of Osiris, the avenging god to avenge his father, and take back Egypt.
Right.
Yeah, I see that. Now, Nereids, or did I say that right? Nereids,
I've never heard it pronounced.
Well, I try my best. Oceanids, what's the difference between the two? Is there a difference, or is it?
Well, it's not really that clear, because again, like all of these 3,000 spirits that Oceanus and Tethys had together would be kind of like considered both the Nereids and Oceanids, but in different places they were called different things, and usually the names would stick based upon the popularity, right? So there's so many different gods of the ocean, it's ridiculous, right? So just in Greek and Roman mythology, you've got Pontus, which is like another Oceanus. You've got Neptune, which would be like one of the sons of Poseidon, and he's a Nereid or like a sea spirit as well as the constant combinations of Oceanid spirits, and even Dionysus has a lot of that
dolphin?
too. Right. One of Dionysus's symbols is a dolphin.
Okay. We were reading about that on Esoteric Book Review 2 weeks ago on the symbolism of fish.
There you go.
Dionysus, or I think maybe Bacchus. Yeah, no, dude, you see the dolphin a lot, guys. We talked about that a lot on Greypilled. And what's she have in her hand there? What's that? A cross? Is that a mirror?
I was thinking maybe a mirror. Yeah,
I'm not sure.
It's that thing that Mr. Miyagi uses.
There you go.
That thing that would spin and have the little things that bounce off.
Well, I mean, they had the Ankh, and I have this depiction I posted. Kek, the frog god of primordial darkness. He had an Ankh in his hand, and this one thing, and so I don't know. You got to ask, but I do see the octopus as well, so that's interesting.
Right. So let me read from Theoi, and then we can get back into it. So the Nereids were 50. Okay, so the Nereids are only the 50. The Oceanids represent a different number. But they were the 50 sea nymphae, daughters of Nereus, the old man of the sea. Again, back to that idea is Oceanus has all of these different forms, like Pontus is the Roman form. And Pontus is, if you look up Pontus, you'll find the same depictions as Oceanus. They were goddesses of the sea's rich bounty, protecting the sailors and fishermen, coming to the aid of those in distress. Individually, they represent various facets of the sea, from salty brine to sea foam, Aphrodite, right? Sand, rocks, waves, and currents, as well as the various skills possessed by seamen. The Nereids dwelt with their elderly father in a silvery grotto. Again, like you see so much of this. Is that Pontus or is that Oceanus?
That's Pontus. He looks the exact same.
Exactly.
But I'm pretty sure behind him is a hippocampus.
Oh yeah. Well, that hippocampus is very important too.
The Satis, right?
Satis?
Well, that's the whale. That has something to do with the hippocampus. If you look into the symbolism behind it, but I digress.
Yeah, that shit looks like a seahorse too, the hippocampus.
Right. So the Nereids dwelt with their elderly father in a silvery grotto at the bottom of the Aegean Sea. The Nereid Thetis was their unofficial leader, and Amphitrite was Poseidon's queen. The Nereids were depicted in ancient art as beautiful young maidens, sometimes running with small dolphins or fish in their hands, or else riding the backs of dolphins. Hippocampoi or hippocamps, other sea creatures. Again, back to the hippocamps.
Here we go.
The name Nereids means daughter of Nereus, but also the wet ones. From Neros, the Greek word for wet. Again, it's the dolphins and hippocampoi.
She got somebody's head in her hand, dude.
Probably sailors. They love to fuck with sailors, and they love to, kill them and use their bodies as trophies.
Oh, nice.
If you guys haven't listened to what's his name? The guy who's the Gen X guy who's always talking about the Watchers. What's his name? He's got X-Men and what do you call it? X-Files under his belt. He just came out with a book about the X-Files.
Damn, can't.
I don't know.
I'm losing it. We keep asking him to come on the show, but he refuses to. I forget his name. But anyways, he talks about the singing troupe that
Alberino?
No, not Alberino. But he talks about this singing troupe that uses Oceanid or Nereid imagery in their production. It's called the something twin. But anyways, like none of their words actually make any sense. They're singing and it sounds like words, but none of them are actually words.
Talk about Rupert Sheldrake.
No, this is
he's another one that keeps telling me no. So.
The Cocteau Twins. Have you guys ever listened to Cocteau Twins music?
No. Cocteau Twins. Whoa.
Yeah.
I've heard
Cocteau Twins represent sort of this Nereid energy, this mermaidy type energy, and they make songs that don't actually have any words. They sound like words, but they're just all nonsense, strings of dismeaning. And they put out these songs on significant dates that go along with high-level assassinations and stuff like that. So there's this Cocteau Twins sort of Nereid idea that goes along with this, we're taking revenge for all of the mermaids you killed or something like that, or the death of the oceans. And so this Cocteau Twins band is specifically producing music that doesn't have any meaning to it, but is put out on significant dates with
the energy behind it as well, right? The intention behind it. Yeah, that's all that matters. That's all that matters. And you can look at a lot of pointless art as that, right? You got to think,
Well, the Cocteau Twins pride themselves on sort of injecting their own belief system into the garbage layer or garbage strata of media, which would be like all of this, advertising, everything that pops up in the commercials, all of that stuff has sort of these underlying meanings that people don't really get, but it goes directly into your subconscious mind. The garbage strata of media is the stuff that sticks most often in the back of your brain. And, you start singing along with the songs and you don't know why the song gets stuck in your head, but it's there. And so their whole goal is, hey, we can have the most impact by getting our nonsense words and our nonsense songs into your mind and you not knowing why it's there. So it's kind of a powerful and dangerous sort of spiritual paradigm that they're existing in. But nobody who's done any, serious research into this has any idea that it's happening unless they're looking at the gematria and everything else. But the Cocteau twins seem like these rabid kind of leftist sort of magicians that are acting on the subconscious layer of the brain. And they're always associated with these major celebrities too, right? And there are actually no Cocteau twins. Like, they just made that name up. There's no twins involved at all, right? So you already get the images in your head, but none of that stuff is real. So I think it's a powerful form of magic. So here are a list of the named Nereids, but I want to get to the hippocamp first, because the hippocamp is very important to Greek mythology. So in a certain time, they were having a contest of who gets to be the patron god of Athens. I don't think it was even called Athens at that time. But on one hand, you've got this very eager Poseidon who comes up to the shore and he's like, I've got everything you need, Athens. I'll show it to you, right? So the first thing I'm bringing to you is this hippocamp, right? And the hippocamp was like a proto horse that came from the ocean. And so the hippocamp, he brings it up on land, and obviously it's not doing anything because it's meant for the ocean. And they're like, well, that's nice. It's kind of a water horse, but, we kind of need horses. We don't need a water horse, right? And so then Poseidon's like, here, I'm going to show you what I can do. So he gets out his, his big old staff and he hits a rock. And what comes out of it is seawater. Are you getting any sort of vibes about, Moses at all? Because there is that element. So He hits the rock and out comes seawater. And he's like, look, I brought you this spring. And they're like, we can't drink it. What are you doing? And then this woman named Athena comes out and she brings the olive tree. And the olive tree was food, shelter, everything. Like, this was their memory source. And they're like, all right, we're going to go with her instead. And so from that point on, Poseidon was kind of pissed that he got passed up, even though he brought these wonderful things from the sea that all these people decided they couldn't use for some reason. And the horse did come along later at a point where it was no longer a hippocamp anymore. But the Greeks were pretty convinced that the horse came out of the hippocamp. So that was their sort of idea about it. And again, the horse coming from the ocean, a very different way of seeing things. But
so I don't think I'm streaming to my YouTube. I don't know what's going on. I just went and looked and it says waiting. That's weird. That's real weird. I'm scheduled for, it's December 14th, right?
Yeah.
At 9:15, it's 9:43. That's weird. It's the craziest thing about it is it's showing on the StreamYard.
Yeah. That's
me
5 destinations. It's not even over what we can use. You know what I'm saying?
Let me remove and I'll delete on YouTube. Damn.
Send it back out now.
Yeah, all right, guys. We'll upload it.
While you're working on that, I can read some of the names of the Nereids.
Go for it.
All right. So first one is agave.
Oh.
Agave, like the cactus? Yeah. Agave. And this is a Nereid whose name means the illustrious. Actia, the Nereid of the seashore. Amathea, and this one actually comes up a lot in Greek mythology. Amathea, one of the Nereids, one who rears or nurses the fish, right? Amathea was also associated with the water goat. Amphinomy, a Nereid of the sea's bounty, literally she of the surrounding pasture. Now, in a lot of ways, you can understand how these names themselves represent the spirit. So as you are invoking these names in your practices, this is the spirit that it kind of rules over or comes over you. So these are, the names are very important. So Amphitrite, the Nereid queen of the sea, the surrounding third.
You're live now on your end.
All right, guys, go over to my stream and like it. Do that now. We got it up and going. Yeah, I figured that all these Nereids would have names. Is it the same thing with the Oceanides?
It is, and there's a lot of them.
Fuck, man, I wanted to write these down, so I guess we'll have to just get a list.
Get on Theoi. Theoi.com has all of the lists and the references. So if you're actually looking for where these things can be found in the existing Greek literature, you'll find all sorts of references for them over at theoi.org.
Hey, so before we get too far away from the hippocampus, isn't this like part of your brain?
I love it. Yeah. That's what I thought, honestly, until he started saying something else. I thought you guys were talking about the brain. That's why I said,
yeah. So let's put a bookmark on the
I told you
the names of the Nereids.
I was like, oh wait, we're not talking
because this is fascinating to me. You find this with everything, dude. We just talked about the Phrygian cap, and the gallbladder. So like, I don't know. I just
think about this real quick. So the Greeks did do some medical experimentation, and they saw what fetuses are looking like, and basically all things in their primordial state kind of look like hippocampoi, right? It's like the fetuses take the shape of the hippocampoi before they become anything. So for them to be talking about the hippocampoi being the predecessor or the previous version of the horse kind of actually makes sense, because that's sort of the fetal state of everything, kind of looks like the hippocampi or the hippocampus in the brain. So there is that element to it as well. So did I ever finish the thought on the wife of Zeus talking about how Oceanus and Tethys were the primaries and not Gaia and Uranus? I think that's actually significant because we come from the waters. Everything is birthed out of the waters. And the Greeks specifically believe that all creation is a sexual act. Everything involves that sexual union producing something else. This is why they have Gaia and Uranus as the progenitors for the world, is because their lovemaking brought everything else into existence. So, for Hera to say that we all come from the water, actually, and not from the union of the sky and the earth, seems pretty significant and theologically damaging to the rest of the, polytheistic religion at that point, because they had to know the order of things, the hierarchy, the divine order. And for them to have this sort of dissenting opinion in that divine order would represent sort of a major departure from the establishment of that, Greek theogony. But Hera was always kind of a outlier when it comes to Greek mythology. She's not about all of those things that Zeus was doing to bring about new life in the world, so kind of interesting. She was adopted by Oceanus and Tethys. So after, I guess, during the time that the Golden Age where Kronos is ruling, she gets, barfed up after he takes it in. And then she's adopted by Oceanus and Tethys. So she's learning all of the secrets of the ocean, while Zeus is sort of conquering and becoming this god king of the sky and the land.
Sky god. Yeah. No. Interesting, dude. I'll never think of Poseidon again. I'll think of Oceanus whenever, think of the god of the water or the oceans, the sea.
Well, Amphitrite is his queen, right?
Amphitrite. Okay, yeah, I saw that name. I was going to ask you about that.
Well, it's interesting that her name literally means surrounding third, right? So if you think about the water and the land and all these things being divided up, there's this idea of maybe the surrounding, again, Oceanus is the god of the rivers that surround the world. And if she's the surrounding third, there's a crossover there too.
So here she is.
Right.
Again with the hippocampus, dude.
Hippocampus.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right. It has a lot to do with this primordial state that you find in the womb. And so, you know, the gods of the fetuses would be the water gods, you know? So a lot of childbirth goes into these gods as well. Together with their sisters, the Kaimatology and the Kaimatoki, she possesses the power to still the winds and calm the sea. So if you got a lot of winds on the sea, maybe you should be praying to infiltrate. Apsudes, one of the Nereids, Homer. But again, you know, if you think about these gods as being sort of like storm gods of the ocean, Poseidon is very angry. She's the one that calms Poseidon, right? Autonoe, a Nereid named with her own mind. Autonoe. Very interesting. So the noose of Zeus, we'll probably get into that later, but Autonoe, a Nereid named with her own mind. Dexamine, one of the Nereids of the strength of the right hand.
Sounds like a pharmaceutical.
A lot of these do become pharmaceuticals, which is strange because they go directly for the Oceanids and Nereids to create their pharmaceuticals.
Well, I was going to say, doesn't pharmacopoeia come from Greek? You know, like, yeah, man. Yeah.
And all of these queens of the ocean who were pharmacoi, they were taught by the sea how to produce these powerful drugs.
Well, hey, you have to look at sea moss, dude. That's why sea moss is so good for us. And like all this stuff you find that you can find in the ocean that you can mix with other things that can, you know, do things that they'll probably kill you for finding a cure for, right?
Right. True. Dione, one of the divine, Apollodorus, that's his reference. Doris is where we can get the name Doris from. The Nereid of the sea's bounty, or else the mixing of fresh water with the brine. They've got this spot in the ocean where this dirty water cannot mix with the clean water, and nobody knows exactly why that happens. There are so many different things that happen in the ocean that we can't fully explain, that I think, you know, the Greeks were watching as well. So they've got that.
I mean, so yeah, most of the ocean's unexplored, dude.
Right. Right. Dodo, the Nereid of giving safe sea voyage or generous catch. Dodo. Interesting. Diamine, the Nereid of the sea's power. Ione, the Nereid of the beach strand. So I guess that would be like a beach shelf or one of these banks in the thing. And let's see. Erato, named the lovely, also another name for a mistake, I believe. Erato. So if you're writing in these manuscripts, instead of crossing everything out, you would write Erato next to it. I could be getting it wrong, the spelling, but Eva Gora, the Nereid of the good assembling of fish or perhaps navy ships. Right. So again, like, where do they put the woman on the ship? They put it on the front bow, right? They're not allowed to have women on the ships because they're bad luck. What happens if you've got a woman on the ship and you've got all of these Nereids in the ocean that get jealous? Shipwreck, right? Yeah. That's the idea behind all of this sort of feminine imagery that you find on these ships all over the world. Just like you were saying, they still put the Eye of Horus on the front of the boats.
Hey, on this boat that this Nereid is I don't know who that is in particular. But I mean, do you see horses? You see centaurs, So you see the hippocampus, like
that looks like
she's riding
Venus.
on dolphins. Is that Apollo's sun wheel right there that's on the boat? Or is
I
that
think that's a shell.
That's just a shell. Okay.
Oh,
Okay.
right? Yeah.
But they always love to ride around on shells, blow shells. Neptune, he was always seen blowing the shell. He was the herald of Poseidon.
I think they're called a conch, right?
Yeah.
Or a conch or a conch or something.
Yeah. Conch. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. But all of this stuff having to do with the ocean is always associated with Aphrodite, Venus, love, associated with
The
water.
feminine.
Right.
Man, the feminine. And that goes back to the mystery schools, the first two being that of the masculine or the solar or the feminine or the lunar. And that was fire and water, right? It has everything to do with the elementals as well. Once people figure that out, you can understand a lot more things symbolically, I think,
Absolutely.
Especially when you read the Bible, dude. Go and read the Bible again after reading about, fire and water and the symbolism of it and where it all comes from and where, it's wild. But
well, Yahweh subdues a sea monster, right? So the sea monster, I can look up the exact name, but
Leviathan.
Yeah. Yahweh specifically comes down and slays Leviathan.
Which is symbolic for like killing your lower nature, killing your beast. You know what I mean?
Right.
But I'm trying to remember the other sea. No, that's Behemoth. He's on the land, I think.
Well, Behemoth is closely related to the beast that's used in the Perseus story where he's saving Andromeda. That thing that was coming out of the water, that was more of the Behemoth style sea monster, as opposed to the, more sea snake that you see with the Leviathan.
Okay.
Let's get let's get the actual verse here. Okay, so it says Isaiah 27:1. I'm going to pull that up. 27:1 through 5. Let's go. 27:1 through 5. So this is in Isaiah 27:1. It says, "In that day, the Lord will punish his sword, his fierce and great powerful sword, Leviathan, the gilding serpent, Leviathan, the coiling serpent. He will slay the monster of the sea."
And that's also giving any serpent symbolism, again, like a negative connotation, right? The serpent in the garden, the Leviathan, like it's all this self. I don't know. It's just it's never expressed as anything else. But then when you go and actually look at the other meanings of this ancient serpent symbolism, it means so many different things. And not all of it's dark. You know what I mean? So.
Well, you got the ancient god of chaos, Apophis, right? In the Egyptian pantheon. Mm-hmm. And then you got Typhon in the Greek pantheon. All of these things are centered around serpents and the slaying of serpents. Apep.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, you do have that, but when you look at the Mesopotamian that mythology, it's the eagle versus the serpent, right? But you look at the people who are, represented by the eagle, you look at those entities or those deities and they're not, the best. They're not the best, any good example, I think, to be honest with you. They're really like I think I talked about it last time. They're more like the war gods. You know what I mean? That are represented by the eagle. And then the serpent is more of the, you could say the mysteries or like the arts or whatever. But
in a way, they're describing the hierarchy, right? So the warlike culture will dominate over the more artistic culture. And the warlike culture will eventually have domination over this sort of more grounded, more in tune culture. I just see it as an internal thing, right?
Right.
So you've got to have something to protect all of the good stuff that you're trying to keep for your own society. So instead of thinking about it like the eagle slaying the serpent, it should be more like the eagle is protecting the serpent's nest. You know what I mean? Because the serpent's nest, that's where you're sort of passing on the knowledge, you're passing on the information. But the eagle has to kind of be brought into the right proportion to the serpent. Again, it's like the sky and the land have to, be brought into harmony. So I want to go with Isaiah 27:2. In that day, sing about the fruitful vineyard. Here's another water one. I, the Lord, watch over it. I water it continually. I guard it day and night so that no one may harm it. Again, he's slaying the Leviathan and then watering his garden. These are both two water images in the same sort of passage. One is being used as, this is the destructive influence of water. And then in the other one, this one is the growth influence of water. So in kind of the same way, this garden is the thing watered by Yahweh because he is protecting it from Leviathan.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think in a lot of mythologies, you have the serpent that's represented as, that monster that is, the kind of bottom feeder. And then you have the one that is kind of represented as knowledge, right? Right. One more like a snake and the other one is more like a dragon composite creature, but then again, some certain cultures would interchange symbols and use other things. It was all about where you were, I guess. But what were you talking about? Oh, I'm sorry, Headless.
Very complex relationship with water. Very complex. So, this is their destruction and their salvation all in one thing. So they're cursing the water as they're using the water. They're constantly in battle with water. Well, at the same time, this is their house and their home. This is their future and everything else. So all of these complex symbols having to do with Yahweh and water go way back. So you're talking about the flood, you're talking about the spring. All of these things are just centered around water and our, dependence and ultimate destruction due to it.
Yeah, it's the same thing with Samael and fire, right? Sons of fire, sons of Samael. You know?
Right. I put it like this. We live in a hungry universe. So everything that you could possibly say that has these positive connotations also have their negative drawbacks. And it all depends on which side you're looking at it from, Burning out the forest and then growing your crops is a very positive thing for you and your family. But what does it do to the forest and all of the other stuff? So, I mean, we're looking at that complex relationship right now with the Amazon. We wouldn't know that there were huge civilizations living in the Amazon basin if not for these slash and burn farmers who are now exposing, hey, this whole thing used to be arable land that they were growing crops in. And the only reason we can really see that is because they cut down the canopy and we can actually see the ruts left by these ancient farmers in this land that we thought was always a massive forest, but it wasn't. It was a built forest.
So what was this noose of Zeus that you were talking about? Zeus's noose. What's this?
Zeus's noose. It's kind of a concept I'm playing with. So in all of these these songs to Zeus, they always say that everything rotates around Zeus's head, and noose means mind, right? So it seems like they're trying to imply that the entirety of civilization and mankind and the creation of the world all exists within the mind of Zeus.
Oh, you mean the noose, like N-O-U-S?
Right.
I thought you meant the noose, like I was gonna get into Odin hanging himself and everything.
You're starting to get it. It's still there.
Oh, okay.
So if you're thinking about the demiurge idea, right? You're born to die. You're in the noose of Zeus, right?
Okay.
Eventually, that's everything's downfall. And a lot of ways you could see, well, how can Zeus be three things? How can he be the god of Hades and the god of the sea and the god of the sky? Well, everything's actually existing around his head and inside of his head. This is where Athena comes out of, right? So Athena is taken into his head as a droplet of water, because Athena's mother is in a contest, a shape-shifting contest with Zeus. And in this shape-shifting contest, Zeus becomes a droplet of water, and then so does she. And before she can change back into whatever she is before, he drinks her. But here's the problem. So he ends up getting the splitting headache, and he doesn't understand why. And Hephaestus has to come with his hammer and smash the noose of Zeus. And out of the mind of Zeus comes Athena. So a lot of times you'll see Zeus with this tiny little Athena fully formed on his palm, and he's holding her up. This was the wisdom of Zeus being manifest from out of his head.
Minerva, Athena. Yeah, wisdom.
Right.
Wow, dude. I love that. That's crazy symbolism.
But again, it comes from the water. The water is the ultimate source of the wisdom that comes through Zeus. And, I keep going back to this book. Okay. Upside down. Fourth phase of water. If you haven't gotten it yet, you guys need to buy it. Go through the image. It's so easy to follow, but it's a whole different way of looking at water. This is water consciousness.
Well, I mean, hey, like I think I brought up this before. When you contact the Archangel Gabriel, you do it through water. Hydromancy, this is written about. But
he does go with the element of water too.
What's up?
He does. He is associated with the element of water.
Okay.
Or it's like the direction that he would be on. Like if I did the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, I'm pretty sure that whatever direction he would be when I would call him would be the element of water as well.
I think is that at the top
I'm trying
of the pinnacle?
What is Raphael? Then I think Gabriel would be no. Gabriel.
Is that with Solomonic magic?
No, the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram.
Nick, I don't know what that is.
Yeah, sorry.
Pull it up.
You can tell me what it is, dude. I'm always, I like to.
It's hard to describe it unless you're doing it. Like once it's deep in your mind, then you can just pull it out
We're here to learn.
Yeah. And I was going to pull it up and I was going to go over it real quick.
Awesome.
Yeah, well, go ahead and I'll look it up.
Okay. So a lot of this book is talking about how radiation energy is what charges the water, right? Radiation energy of heat. So thermal heat and light is what causes these charged areas of water to expand. So in the Orphic hymn to Helios, they call him lover of the stream. Lover of the stream. The sun loves the stream. What exactly does that mean? It kind of makes sense, but it's hard to say why. Why does the sun, Helios, love the stream? And in my research here, it kind of answers that question, is because the stream is absorbing these electrons and separating out and creating these charged, structured areas based upon simply the radiation from the sun. So we think of, chloroform or chlorophyll as being the powerhouse of these plants, but really it comes down to the water before you're ever talking about chlorophyll, because all of the stuff that's moving inside of, these water-filled bodies, we're all sort of water computers. Everything has to do with the charged essence of this easy zone, right? So he demonstrated these Naphon tubes having a certain charge can push the water through them. So when you're talking about these plants bringing water up from their roots into the leaves, that's done through the process of this, this fourth phase of water. It's essential to life. and it's hardly ever studied, but it doesn't have to stay that way, right? We could all sort of pick up this book and start to understand the conscious level of water that seems to permeate all parts of our existence.
Does it teach how it kind of correlates with the moon and stuff? Like the cycles?
No, he doesn't get into that. He's just talking about the sun and water, basically that aspect.
Because, people kind of wonder why they feel weird during certain moon phases. And it's like, well, we're made up of water. You know what I mean?
Why is the moon cooler? What effect does that have on the waters? Yeah. Are we actually doing any lunar testing with the water as opposed to the thermal testing with the water? I don't think that's been done before. So there's a whole other aspect of water that's not even covered in this book, because he's just focused on what he's discovered about it, which is that, once you get this thermal energies coming into the water, these easy zones expand. Actually, Victor Schauberger, too, he talks about the carrying temperature of water. And he's determined that the maximum carrying temperature of water is 35 degrees. And 35 degrees, just, a few degrees above the cooling or the freezing point, is actually when you get the most flow activity coming from the water, because it hasn't expanded, receiving all that thermal energy from the sun. So the best way to start transporting logs or whatever you want to transport is to keep that water as close to freezing as possible. Well, what do we see with these thermal inclines in the water? It's the cold water coming up from the bottom that has all of these fish in it, right? This is what all of these sea creatures are looking for, is this massive upspurt of cold water from the bottom of the ocean. Like, that is where all the food is. That's where the carrying capacity of the oceans is once you've got this, massive cold water coming up from the bottom. That's the feeding frenzy. So it's sort of the reverse of what we think on the surface, where all of the life sort of gravitates towards the heat. In the water, it would be kind of the opposite. It's like all of the life is gravitating towards the cold.
Yeah.
But once the water starts heating up, it flows at a lower rate. So 40-degree water has a lower carrying capacity than 35-degree water. 35-degree water is the maximum flow potential of whatever water source you're dealing with, which is, I think it's useful information if you're trying to build a log flume, which is what, Victor Schauberger specialized in for a number of years. But, there's all sorts of other things, like if you're doing plumbing, you want to keep that water as close to cold freezing as possible so that you can get as much of it through those tubes as possible. So if you're talking about, massive dams and stuff, you don't want to have hot water in there sort of blocking up the flow, something like that. I don't know. I'm not an engineer. I just know that this stuff is useful data that's not being looked at anymore. So Victor Schauberger and the fourth phase of water.
I don't think we give... Yeah, I don't think that we give water the credit that it really deserves, dude. Like, it's a fascinating element,
that stuff.
Yeah, man. I mean, it holds memory. It, it vibrates at certain frequencies, and it can hold images when you freeze it after that frequency. Or like, you've heard of people speaking to water. Well, this is the same thing with plants, speaking to plants and water, and like, off what they say, that if they speak anything positive, it'll make it grow, or it'll make something beautiful kind of form in the ice. But if you say something negative, even if you just don't do anything at all, I think don't say anything at all, it'll still kind of like die away, become like real ugly and decrepit.
Well, Veda Austin is trying to get a complete compendium of water glyphs. Right. So as you were talking about with the ice, she's found that there are certain phrases that translate into images she doesn't immediately understand in the ice, but it repeats. So if you're talking about certain things to the ice to the water before you freeze it, you're going to start to see certain glyphs appear over time. So these water glyphs are like the basis of language, the basis of the alphabet. And so as she's sort of photographing these things that pop up again and again and again, associated with other concepts, she's almost mapping the language of water itself, which I think is a really cool project.
Absolutely. looking for something real fast. If y'all want to keep going on the subject, I'm trying to find this one picture.
Well,
From what Nick was saying.
All spirits are said to not pass over flowing bodies of water. This is a thing you find in parapsychology too. It's like if you're going to try and get away from these hitchhikers, your best bet is to go over a bridge or move over flowing water so that whatever ghost is haunting you stops following you.
Oh.
Something interesting about that. Like, what's the energy field that stops this spirit from passing over flowing bodies of water?
It condensates into the water.
Could be. Well, think about all of these projections or these spirits that you see, full body apparitions. Could that be the result of mist existing in that space, right? Because it kind of looks like a 3D image. And if it's projected or, recepted on the water of the spirit, it kind of makes sense because we're talking about all of these water glyphs and the Veda Austin seeing these images in ice. Why wouldn't that work the same with human consciousness that hasn't fully passed on yet? It's manifesting in the water again.
Damn, Frank said water appears to be extremely bright to rabies victims, like it's water on fire.
Hey, I think if you look at the pentacle, Nick, water would be on, like, if you're looking at me as a man, water would be right here. Would be right here.
Yeah.
Facing east then, if you're looking at it, I think it'd be on your right side, right? Or I don't know. I'd never, but
actually, yeah. If you
I'm guessing if you were to be in there and trying to get a mental image of it, I've never,
if you want, I could try to I guess I'll go into that just real quick where I was trying to explain with it.
Hey, FOMO.
With the lesser banishing ritual of the pentagram, it's you're gonna use that to, if you just use it, just a basic LBRP, you're just basically removing all elemental and earthly influences, and that's it. You start off facing the east, and you do the Kabbalistic cross, which you touch your forehead. Yeah, you go Atah, Malkuth, Vegabora, Vegadula, Le'olam, Amen. And you clamp your hands closed, and then you will draw a pentagram in the east and charge it, and then you'll charge the one to east. Jesus Christ, south. Yeah, right. And then then behind you, you'd end up doing it. You go all four corners. You're going to do a pentagram. You're going to charge it with the specific God name that's associated with that corner. Mm-hmm. And then in the middle of it, then when you're done doing all that, you'll stand in the middle of it and you'll face east and you'll say, before me, Raphael, which would be to the east, and that would be air, and he's associated with air. And then you'd say, behind me, Gabriel, and the Gabriel would be behind me, which would be the element of water would be behind me as well. That's where I was getting at. Gabriel's even associated with water.
Right.
And then on my right hand, which would be fire, Michael. And then on my left hand would be earth. That'd be Uriel.
Yeah. Okay.
You call all them, and then you say, for about me, flames the pentagram, and in the column stands the six-rayed star. And then you do the Kabbalistic cross again, and it's over. It's like very short and to the point, actually.
Fascinating.
Yeah.
Fascinating. And that's an OTO thing? That's an OTO.
No, that came from see, that's the thing that I was even saying on Greyhorn Pagan's show today. Not that I'm
you went on Stein's show?
Yeah, he had me on today. Yeah.
Dude, shout out Stein, man. I have to get him to come back on and talk about runic magic and the Odinic mysteries, man. We got a lot to talk about.
But yeah, see, like there was a lot of things. I mean, I hate to say it, even with 777, Ike Baker even said it on the show. A lot of that Crowley already had taken from work that was already done from the Golden Dawn. Those rituals that like the LBRP and the hexagram ritual that he released in Libra O, those came from the Golden Dawn. Those are not his at all. Technically, and again, I'm not trying to like church this guy up, but when he first came out and released all that stuff, that was his way of saying, fuck all of yous. Not just the rich people should be allowed to use this stuff. It's for everybody. He technically was kind of being not like a whistleblower, but kind of being like
how it was. That's how it was originally, before the elites took it over,
He specifically, I think, even mentions in some of his stuff that it was not just for the elites. It should be, he even specifies magic and theory and practice. He's still hard as fuck to read. He was like, a shoe salesman should be able to understand this.
Well, we have that on the book for EBR, or on the list, on the book list for EBR, man. So maybe we'll land on it. But
so he didn't write that. Long story short, no, he didn't. That's not one. He did do the Star Ruby, the Reguli, Star Sapphire. Those are his.
Now, a lot of magicians have well, a few of them have discussed the idea that maybe it's a bad idea to banish all of these different spirits. So like we were talking about before, like all of these Oceanids would be kind of these, water type spirits. And a lot of them are actually beneficial. And when you're banishing, you're getting rid of all of the beneficial as well as all of the negative too. So do you really want to be, it's like gut flora. Do you really want to take antibiotics and kill off all of your gut flora every single time you get sick? Because that could be a bad thing in the long run. So.
Mm-hmm. A very bad thing.
There was at one point, because I do agree with what you said. I got into the greater the greater pentagram ritual, and that one you'll start deciding which ones you want to open or close to even deal with. Which ones either you can invoke or banish. Like you can start choosing and not actually do it to everyone. Right. And that one's like even a little bit more drawn out. You get to act like you're opening up a portal and closing it. Like, it's just so much more dramatic and cool looking.
And I think a lot of this comes from the idea that all actions come from thoughts. And so if you're able to banish out the thoughts that are sort of crowding in your mind, that's how you come upon new thoughts and focus on new things. But like Crowley's saying, if it's only the elites that can control their thoughts, what does that mean for everybody else?
Yeah, why can't we control our thoughts? Yeah,
we've got too many narratives that we've got to keep in mind.
Well, it's the intention behind everything, guys, behind these symbols, behind your prayer, behind your meditation, your will. It's intention and your perception of reality. Yes, Mac. We all know this, and he liked to give it to people as well.
Probably a few people will take it in the ass.
I was going to say he was pitching and catching, man. He had to get both ends. He was. I don't know. I'm still reading the book on him by William Ramsey.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Dude, I have so many books.
Yo, if it wasn't for fucking Aleister Crowley, what would
I have to read? Well, dude, I mean, if
some people wouldn't have much to talk about or much to
right.
write about or much to sell if it wasn't for that guy.
You're right, man. No, you're absolutely. He was, one of those you could say like a necessary evil in a way, as far as for researchers and people who
straight up. If we removed these three topics, Aleister Crowley, Michael Aquino, and the Process Church, 90%, about 60% of the people we know would have zero fucking shit to talk about.
I think you're right, and
that's
I think
the only free trick pony they know of.
As well as the information that's out there, there would be barely anything. You know what I mean? Like a lot of this stuff, connects to each other, and so that's how you figure out about something else. Most of the time, for me. At least now. In the past, I do research in the past, and I still do research, but now stuff just kind of clicks for me, and I'm like, wait a minute, let me go back and look at what I was just looking at, and learn stuff every day. What happened to the old gays? I don't know, Maddie.
Yes, they
all died out.
It's like I'm just gonna keep it real. Like with Aquino, I do think that guy did some fucked up shit. It's quite obvious, but a lot of the information about him was released from the government.
Right.
And put it this way, when you have people who can't keep his name out their mouths, he's going to remain a god. Right. Doesn't matter if it's a good reason or a bad reason. And I guarantee you stand up on your soapbox and bitch about this guy out of to 100 people, 10 of them afterwards might actually be like, oh, let me go see what this dude was talking about. Right. And it's still gonna fucking lead them to his shit. So if you actually want to stop that occultist from being popular, shut the fuck up already about him every day.
Yep.
repeating his name, repeating Baal and all these other names people just parrot because they want to talk about Satan. You're the one keeping these motherfuckers alive.
Right.
We don't even hear us talking
point.
about them, for fuck's sakes.
You got a point, Nick. Well, I try to get into, that's why I try to get into the mystery schools and get into what you can do positively with some of this esoteric knowledge. And, you know, not, you know, I don't really talk about ceremonial magic or divination or anything. You know, I have people on who talk about it. You know, you guys talk about it all the time. I don't, I find stuff fascinating. I love learning about it. But, you know, I get into, you know, the mystery schools, the original. I try to find the original meaning of things, right? And I think that's very important because I think a lot, especially symbolism, has been subverted so much, and you know, that's how people perceive it, right? All this stuff is evil, like, you know, beating a dead horse, but Nick says it all the time: dicks and demons, you know, dicks and demons. That you gotta put that on a shirt, dude, or something. We got to get some. We may do something with. Yeah, I'm printing some. I think I'm printing some stickers, some Occult Reject stickers. So I'll send you guys some.
Oh shit! Okay.
Yeah, man. I'll send you guys a sticker pack. I just ordered three new Greypilled designs, guys.
Yes.
I know a lot of people subscribed to the Patreon this last week. Thank y'all.
Yeah, man.
We got a lot of shit. You know, that we got coming, especially in the new year. Gonna start having some guest episodes that are Patreon only. We'll probably start doing the EBR only to Patreon. We'll have enough people to where we'll have an audience every Saturday. Yeah, you can get in where you fit in. I have a lot of tiers over there, and it's a good way to support Greypilled. And yeah, you get a sticker pack. You get a sticker pack, you know.
Takes in demons, which one you want inside you?
Oh yeah, I saw that.
Well, that's actually an interesting point because you were talking about Michael Aquino, but hardly anybody mentions Colonel Paul Valley, who is Michael Aquino's co-author of the book PSYOP, Mind War, and he became a founding contributor to the TPUSA. So are you guys being steered around by your nose here because, you know, it's 45 years of satanic panic? Are you guys buying into it? Because this is, on one side, you've got Paul Valley, TPUSA, and on the other side, you've got Temple of Set, Michael Aquino, and they seem to be getting along just fine.
Right.
People talking about Michael Aquino. Why, you know, the guy is PSYOPs, why we literally have podcasters in this community that openly admit that they worked for a dude that, if you look into him, was a social media PSYOP.
Right.
I don't believe you actually quit, bro. You didn't stop working for the CIA. You still are. You know, that shit goes on, but people want to talk about other shit that doesn't mean anything. No, I'm being serious. I'll talk to you after the show. There's somebody who legit is in the podcasting community that openly admits they used to work for the CIA. And when you look up the motherfucker's name that he used to work for, the guy's in charge of social media PSYOPs. Motherfucker, you never quit. This is your job.
Right.
That's why the first fucking show you showed up on is gigantic. Because you're fucking placed in here.
And a lot of people think that a lot of people think
child, corrupt them all.
A lot of people think that there's,
I don't know what these are.
There's this defined line of how you can tell one person is bad and one person is good. But really, it all comes down to timing, because they could be saying the right thing over and over and over again and gain your trust. And then at the right moment, they can just turn that back around on you and you'll never see it coming because they've established a trust. You know?
Yeah. Dude, there's a lot coming out about TPUSA lately, man.
Oh yeah.
But you got Candace Owens being the head honcho on that. And so, you know, she controls the information that people get to see, right? They don't get to read about her at all, do they?
Nope.
Or figuring out that
she's got a very strange past as well.
Well, if you read into her father and what he did and where he was.
And her father-in-law.
Yo, I'd take her to be the #1 podcast in Joe Rogan, though. I hate to say it.
He worked for a company that was in charge of security, rhymes with Handy Snook. And yeah, so
Ooh,
yeah,
interesting.
yeah, he was in charge of the fire alarms and the locks, and yeah, I can't
And remember, guys, they didn't have any courtship.
remember her
They were
father.
just introduced to each other and then immediately got married. What does that sound like?
They got married 18 days or something. Are you talking about her and her husband? Yeah, yeah. And
No
somebody said
courtship.
he's a Knight of Malta. Absolutely, dude. People are always, I mean, don't get me wrong. It is the Jays, but it's also these other groups. The Knights of Malta, there may be more
Every group's got
of
some.
those behind Trump than these crazy rabbis.
Right.
I don't know, but
here's the thing. This is what I was trying to say earlier. So if Candace Owens is saying all the right things now, when is it most advantageous for her to flip and take all those sheep back into the pen? Because if that's the case, that's what you need to be looking out for. Don't betray your own mind. Don't betray your own sovereignty just because there's a media personality telling you all the right things at the right time for them to say it.
yeah.
This is why they worship the Chronos cube. It's all about timing. It's all about timing.
Yeah, dude. Their prophecy, dude. Yeah, my wife was showing me the clip of Adam King on Tim Pool with the ashes for from what were they, the red heifers, and my wife is just in disbelief. She's like, I told you.
Right.
They want to bring around the end of the world. It's a death cult, and so.
Well, they
And
get
he's like, yeah, a dime bag of these ashes. I'm like, oh my God. Like you're peddling, like, oh, it's so just
it's gross.
scummy. Can't stand that guy. But
well, you're not alone. But
Yeah.
a lot of this comes down to timing. And what we're seeing now is it seems like they're making all the wrong moves, but it's at all the right times. Like especially what happened in Australia recently. Perfect timing. Perfect timing. Right?
what happened in Australia?
Oh, yo, that was insane.
Yeah.
Those motherfuckers just bucking off shots forever.
With something with the NSA?
I watched a 10-minute clip of this. I was like, yo, the fucking cops haven't shown up. Like, what I thought was crazy, it's the video that I'm watching, it's this whole open side where these two dudes are at. You're just like waiting for a cop car to show up and just shoot them right there.
Right.
What happened?
What the these
There was
two
a
guys
massive
with these
shooting.
gigantic guns just.
They killed
Were there-
about 11 people on a beach.
Were they abos?
No, they were Muslims from Pakistan.
What do you know?
And
Yeah.
one Muslim guy actually disarmed one of them.
Right. There was one guy, he sees it happening. He comes up and he rips the rifle out of his gun, aims it at the guy. He doesn't actually shoot.
I would have
would've
shot you,
shot him in the leg.
motherfucker. Yeah, right,
Yeah.
right in the leg, or the stomach at least.
Incredible.
Right.
Shot him
Get
in
him
the
to start talking before he could disappear.
Well, they should probably let more than an end to their country.
Yeah.
That's probably the best solution.
Well, they've actually started already calling these people far-right Muslims. So now they're far-right. You see exactly the approach. They're going to say they're far-right. and
Next,
then
they'll
they're
start
gonna
calling them
remove
white.
Muslim,
You,
And then they're just going to call them far-right.
yo, you know what sick fucking shit Netanyahu's already fucking saying out there? Because of Australia not being hard enough on anti-Semitism, this has happened now.
Right.
And it's almost like he's telling them, you better get your shit together with anti-Semitism, whatever, or we're going to have a problem with you now too.
Right. It's a threat.
I'm like, yo, somebody needs to kill this motherfucker.
Oh,
No, we didn't do that now. Hey.
in Minecraft.
I'm gonna
Fuck
come.
you, man. Someone put a bullet in his head.
Well, that's the thing. It's like you're supposed to feel that way. That's the character he's playing.
Yeah.
Everybody sees it.
Yeah, I feel you,
see
Nick.
the book? Did you see the book?
They're worried about
Rome?
shooting Trump in the well, that was fake anyway, but like fuck, like
Did you see the book that he was carrying under his arm? Rome versus Israel. Right? He said, we lost the first time. We're not going to lose the second time. He's talking about going to war with Rome. Well, who the hell does he think Rome is?
Yeah, Well, who do other people think Rome is? You know,
Right.
they're like, no, that's Rome. It's like, no, it's us. Like, we are Edom to
That's what they
them.
call
Like,
us.
that may not be how you view it, you know, but like, that's what they say. And they wrote the prophecy. So, you know, I don't know what to tell you. Like, they want to kill us.
Right.
We are Amalek or whatever. Well, that goes into something completely different. But
This is a burning hatred that's been there for 2,000 years. And he's playing the role right now of getting everybody upset at him so that he can have more troops. The rest of the world is like, hey, there's so much anti-Semitism, I'm going back to Israel. And as soon as they do that, he's got more troops. That's why he's doing it. That's why he's being obnoxious. That's why he's saying all of this shit out in public.
I normally don't let this shit get to me, but I was like, yo, this motherfucker is just sick.
Yeah.
yeah.
I mean, I could give two flying fucks about both those religions, and it's still whatever I think he's doing over there is like gone way beyond, what's even now. When I saw the bulldozers next to the tanks on day 3, I knew what the fuck was up. This is Build Back Better.
Well, dude, they did that whole operation was Mossad, dude. Like, people want to say, you know, oh, those Hamas terrorists. I'm like, dude, that's IDF soldiers, bro. Like,
that was a fucking Israeli with a fucking.
Well, they're trained by the same
bars.
people who trained them, so it's like, you know, what the fuck are you talking about?
Right.
I don't know how people don't see that by now. That it's all a big, it's a big show.
And you know, it makes sense why they would fall for the psyop because their lives are on the line. You know, like, what else can you do in that situation? You either die, you know, with your hands on your head, or you die with a rifle in your hands. Which would you prefer? You know, so I understand why they would fall for the psyop, but at the same time, it's like, guys, we don't have to fall for it. It's not on our shores yet. We could keep that out. You just have to be smart about it, and we're not doing that at all.
Absolutely. Yeah, man.
It's crazy. It's
Well,
the fucking Jew is Hitler now. What the fuck happened? Like, what the, you know what I'm saying? Like,
3 years. That's all it took. It's 3 years.
Yeah. That's wild, dude. It's fucking wild. Everything that's happened. Just the whole, the entire paradigm shift of it in itself. It's wild. It happened pretty fast, to be quite honest with you. But I don't know, man. People, you still got a lot of people that just, you know, they either don't know or they know and they just willingly, you know, they like their shitty job, they like their fast food, they like their fucking Netflix and Goy Ball and you know, all that fun stuff. So
big shout out to Evan Williams. Evan Williams on X. You got to follow that account if you're into really heavy satire. He's a great follow. He's definitely his ally slop has really helped us out immensely.
Yeah. Well, so is there anything else on the Nereids or the Oceanids?
Well, if you want to talk a little bit about possession and possession by these entities, I think that would be interesting as well, because there's a lot of these sea demons that pop up again and again when it comes to possessions. And if you think about it, they have the least in common with, you know, surface dwellers. So you've got the great, or the what are they called? The, you know, the chthonic deities, the Cthulhu, for example. Right? These ancient deities of the abyss are always associated with water, you know, and they're rising up from water. And, you know, we've got these blips that we see popping up on the coast of Africa that is like the most massive sea creature even imaginable, like miles and miles long. And we have no idea what any of this stuff is. So if there's a spiritual dimension to any of that stuff, maybe we haven't even seen the start of it. But if things get too chaotic here on Earth, I think that's going to be something that we see popping up, is the spirit associated with the sea having some kind of an impact on life on Earth. I mean, what do they talk about when it comes to what was it called? The big comet that's supposed to strike the world and turn everything, all the seas to blood, right? Like there's this idea that maybe we're sitting on top of an impending disaster associated with the sea that we're not really aware of, but somehow the whole thing can turn to blood. Interesting.
Yeah. The ocean is a very mystifying place. Like I said, one of the most unexplored place on this planet. So, I mean, they tell us to look up and look to the sky and all that, but really I think we should look at what's under the oceans and in these caves that are inside of the earth, because I think these cave systems go real deep inside the earth and they open up into continent-sized spaces. And in those continent-sized spaces are, ecosystems, right?
Parallel societies.
And yeah, dude, other creatures and I think beings. And, they live on a completely different frequency because they're inside of the earth. So maybe they look differently. Maybe they're bigger, they're taller, different color. I don't know, but that's what I think. So, I mean, I believe in, I don't know if space is fake and gay. I do believe in the, like the cosmology stuff, the astrotheology and all that, as above, so below. What happens in heaven happens on earth, microcosm, macrocosm. So, there is something above us. I just, I haven't been up there yet.
Well, next time on the Rustic Gods, we can cover some of the underworld spirits, since we've done the kind of dryads or the upper world spirits, and there's a whole underworld aspect of this.
This is a great this is a great pivot into that from this, because you're talking about these water nymphs, Lilith or Lilitu, the daughter of Ereshkigal and Nergal, who is the king of the underworld in ancient Mesopotamia.
Right.
This was Adapa. I think it was Adapa, his second wife, who they basically arranged to marry because he was a Sumerian king, but he was also like a fisherman and stuff like that. So you see a lot of sea symbolism with him as well. So it goes right into it. Into the underworld, the Abzu, as they call it there. But, you talk about Hades, this is Nergal, Mot, Anubis. There's a lot of names. So it'll be fun to get into something a little different.
Right. And it can bring up some of the positive aspects of the underworld, which I don't think anybody goes into, really. It's like everything under the ground is evil, but at the same time, that's the source of all wealth. Right? This is where we pull out all of our valuable minerals and gemstones. And that's why they call Pluto or Hades Pluto, is because he's the source of all wealth. So at the same time that you're cursing the underworld, you're having to interact with it to pull out all of these valuable resources that now get used in all this other stuff. So in essence, we're surrounded by the underworld. We've built ourselves cages made out of the underworld.
Yeah, no, we have. I think a lot of people have done that. They've created their own hell for themselves. And, there's that theory of that we're on the lowest level of heaven, highest level of hell, that whole thing. And
but physically, I mean, where do we get our metals from?
But it's very interesting.
We get all the steel from inside the earth, and then we build massive cages out of them, and that's literally a cage from hell. But it's sort of on the same level that Solomon used all of those demons in his spell work to build a temple, right? There's this constant idea of push-pull with the earth and how these, different spirits manifest within the physical matter. And I think that's a very interesting thing to get into because, underworld spirits get a lot of shit, but what are we made out of? In the Greek essence, all of our bodies would be of Titan material, right? These Titans that died in Titanomachy, but our spirits come from the divine, the upper world.
Right.
So in that same essence, we're kind of using the underworld to build everything, and our bodies are made out of the underworld, but there's some sort of higher spiritual essence that's imbued in it as well.
It's the same thing and same in Mesopotamia. You know, whenever Enki's down there doing his thing with, you know, his DNA genetic manipulation and you know, our essence, our spirit comes from the creator, right? But you know, there's you gotta look into it, you know. But
Absolutely. I think this is a great place
I'm
to
sure this was a banger of an episode. I'm sure we'll do another one of these this next week, guys. We're getting close to the holidays, to Christmas or Yule, winter solstice, whatever you celebrate. But so I don't know. I'm sure we'll be able to do another one of these before, but I mean, you know, before the end of the year, that is. But
Yeah.
Is there anything else, guys?
check out my show. We did a great episode with Matt and Dave doing a recap of what we saw out in Phoenix.
I saw that earlier.
Yeah,
That's
go
pretty
check
cool.
that out on Headless.
Nick?
Headless, did you restream that? No, right?
Yeah, I did. Actually, Restream is so easy. All you got to do is click one button and it's all
Oh, I didn't even know he was giving us that option.
I think it comes standard with Restream. They just asked me. I'm like, okay, I'll do that.
Oh no, I would have streamed it out on my end. I didn't.
What'd
know.
y'all use?
They use Restream. I just
Restream.
recorded.
Oh, I went on Doc's podcast last night. He had Riverside, so I couldn't go live to anything. But guys, I'll post that on the Patreon, the episode on Prometheus Lens podcast. It's a banger.
Nice.
So I'll put that on the Patreon for you guys. I'll try to do that later, maybe tomorrow. Yeah, go follow us, I guess, at Occult Friends. I think that's it. On Twitter,
Yes.
YouTube, the Occult Rejects. Go over to the Rumble, follow that. And you get the numbers up over there. Are we on Instagram? Are you on Instagram, Nick?
Yeah.
I am. Yeah.
Headless, you are too? Okay.
Yeah, we
Well-
share cat videos on Instagram. So come on over.
Sweet.
We'll throw some cat videos at you.
Well, guys, y'all be sure to follow all the right channels, subscribe. Be sure to like the video. Follow me at Greypilled Pod, Greypilled _ podcast on Instagram, YouTube, Rumble, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, patreon.com/GreypilledPodcast. Best way to support the show. And we do a lot of cool shit over there. A lot of exclusive shit. You get sticker packs. No one else gets sticker packs, only Patreon people. But,
Check out that dude's Patreon. He puts a lot out on Patreon.
Mhm.
Does Bennett stream live, by the way?
Huh?
Y'all
He
know?
does sometimes with us.
He does? Okay. Well, I'm going on his show tomorrow night, I think. Broadcasting Seeds.
Oh, nice.
So maybe he'll stream it live. Maybe not. Maybe he'll let me. I don't know. But excited about that. And then Cult of Conspiracy and I are sitting down the 21st, I think.
Oh, nice.
So those are the only two shows I have scheduled besides Esoteric Book Review and Rustic Gods. And then I really want to do an Elohim etymology soon. Dive back into it. We'll do part 2 of Ninurta, and I'll do that on Patreon. We'll do that on a Sunday morning, maybe. Maybe you guys want to join me. I'll bring a couple other people in as well. And y'all can just throw your 2 cents in on this deity. I'm sure you know something about him, the Mighty Hunter. But anyway, this was fun, guys.
Oh yeah, it always is.
This was fun. Does the Occult Rejects have any shows this week?
I do. Yeah. What do we got here? We got Hellish, you were right. I was completely wrong. I think it was because he might have asked for that day. I don't remember exactly why. But we do have, tomorrow at 7:30, I think I'll be going live. We have Natalie Smearman coming back on. She went out and did one of her Bigfoot hunting things recently, and I did tell her I wanted her back on after she did it. So she's coming on tomorrow. But then Tuesday, we do have Library of the Untold. And the topic of I'm not exactly sure what it's going to be, but the name of the topic is Electric Stork, like the stork that brings you babies. So who knows where he's going with this, but we got that Tuesday. It's always great when we have him on. It's always a fire episode. Then Wednesday night, back It's been a minute for this dude. We got Mario from Symbolic Studies coming back on Wednesday night. So
I need to meet him.
yeah,
He's talked a lot about him, and he's come on a lot, but I still, and just let me know if there's any shows that you need me to make, dude, and I'll see if I can make them.
Unfortunately, they're so fucking early. That's the problem. I guess I'll try to put them later at night, actually, for you. Sometimes asking people to do 9, so it's unfortunate. I'm just keep it real. They're like, it's a little late, or 9:30 during the week. The weekend, it's not a problem.
Well, as I think I forgot to mention, guys, go check out. Oh fuck, never mind. I took it down. I took the esoteric book review down, and maybe on Headless's channel if y'all want to check it out. But we did part 2 of the Golden Ass, and we covered part 1 of the Mysteries of the Druids. And it was awesome. So if you're a Patreon member, you can go check that out. And thank you, JJ and JC, for your Cash App donations. I got those after the show, and didn't get a chance to say thank you.
Right. And you're really going to want to check out last week's book review episode because Jules is reading The World's First Donkey Show. So
yes. In my very smooth and sensual voice, Matthew McConaughey.
Oh no!
Yo, what the fuck? I was gonna say.
You got a new nickname.
I was gonna say McConaughey, not Matthew. I'm kind of gay. I think that was a meat cavern. Matthew McConaughey. Oh man, I love it. I'm not gay, guys. Don't worry. I got a real hot wife. Even though people call me handsome faggot and stuff, there's nothing. My co-host for Esoteric Book Review, he's gay. Love you, Rat. Anyway, I'm joking around, guys. It's fun. But I was gonna say one more thing. Oh yeah. So go check that out. Fuck, dude. I was gonna say one more thing, but I completely forgot.
You all right?
No, I completely forgot, but okay. All right. Well, that's it. All right. Y'all have a good week, guys.
Later.